you so much, Mia. I'm so happy today because a very good friend of mine, Miss Cebu 2011, Ikama Walker, is one of the most sought after events hosts here in the city of Cebu. Let's welcome Mia Ali Faridun. Mia Ali. Hi, Mia.
Hi, it's so nice to see you.
I
This is a
know. Today, thank you very much for granting my request, for saying yes.
of course, it's something exciting, something to look forward to when a friend comes up and tells you to have a conversation, regardless if it's recorded, if it's live, or it's just a talk, especially these days, you get to appreciate these conversations even more.
True, because let's face it, Nino, even when before COVID, because after the show, we rarely get that chance to catch up, to meet up, even in person, like just a simple coffee, because we've been busy with our own schedules. But I think one of the good things that happened with COVID is that they get to reconnect people again, even just virtually, diba? I got curious lang, no, because I live with my family. I'm with my husband, and for years you've been living alone. I mean, you have your own place and all that. Before COVID, it was okay because you got busy with work and everything. But now, I think for more than 2 months, you've been literally stuck alone. For someone who lives alone, how do you cope up in this pandemic?
So like you mentioned, living alone hasn't been new to me. I don't see a lot of people when I'm at home. I've been living alone since I was in college. After KMWK, I still continued with my regular job. So aside from KMWK and the events that I host, I have a regular day job. So when we got the message that we have to work at home, it was usual. It was something like a breath of fresh air for me, because
Finally, you can rest.
for the first time in a long time, you don't have to wake up very early.
Right.
As long as the clock hits, then you need to turn on your laptop and you need to be online and do your daily work. But then it takes its toll on you when you see the news that people have gone jobless, that there are a lot of people having a hard time, businesses closing because of ECQ. And when it finally hit the business with our company before, I used to work for a marketing department for a fast food chain. We could see the effects right away that, people are going less and less.
Yeah.
What if they will trim down their employees? What if some jobs will be cut? So it brings anxiety. Sometimes it stresses you out to a certain point. But you also have to remind yourself that life goes on, that you have to focus on the now. And right now, it's still okay. It's still manageable. It's not perfectly good, but it's still manageable. So when you're alone and when you're confined in one space only.
In four corners of your house.
Yes, exactly. And, all of the thinking takes its toll on you. So I was forced to do other activities. I was forced to do, I have a couple of books right here that I haven't touched for a long time because I was always busy,
How did your pattern change now that you're as someone who lives alone? How did your pattern change when you were told to work from home?
A lot. I would say a lot, because in the morning I would have time to prepare breakfast, like the proper breakfast, not just
don't have to go to the do anymore.
Not just a quick meal, just to stuff your stomach. Yeah. So that changed. I got to eat better.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I got to cook. My cooking skills
leveled up a little bit. I saw your stories.
It leveled up a little bit because I can't always order online on a daily basis. I have to, especially with COVID, you need to be physically fit. You need to eat nutritious food so that your immune system boosts up. So I bought vitamins. I don't usually drink supplements, but I drank supplements. Dapat in a week, I get to eat vegetables at least 3 times.
Okay.
So mas healthier na siya, and every day I need to eat at least one fruit.
So going back, speaking of healthy, no? So na-change, you said na-change ang pattern. So daghay mga habits na na-change from how you start your day to your eating habits and everything. Now, even if we're just at home, we can't say that we are entirely and totally healthy. So on your end, how do you manage to stay physically, emotionally, and mentally healthy in this time of quarantine?
Sige. Let's start with physically because I totally agree. We need to be healthy in all those three aspects.
Yes.
It's not just physically because when you're stressed out, it doesn't matter how physically fit you are. It
True.
diseases and other vulnerabilities will come into you if in some aspect you're not healthy.
I know.
So physically, since I mentioned we were always out and about in my previous work, I was usually always busy, so I couldn't find time to exercise. But this time, actually, a month before I ended my previous job, I decided to change my physical routine. So
Oh.
I enrolled in a gym. Good thing that gym anytime
Mhm.
has an app.
Right.
So I followed the routines, exercises that's in there. From March until this month, I've been regularly doing exercises.
Like
I
every
don't
day?
particularly. Uh, there was a time I would do it every day, but this
Wow.
time, sometimes it gets busy. So around at least 4 times a week.
Right.
And we're,
Making time.
we're not getting any younger, Tin.
True.
We're not getting any younger. The thing that motivated me was when I tried to fit in some dresses before, wouldn't fit me anymore. More than, fitting into old clothes. I just really wanted to be fit. I just wanted to sweat out. And then emotionally, good thing there's Netflix and there's internet connection. Can you imagine an easy
Yeah.
quarantine without an internet connection? I would video call with my boyfriend. I would call my mom
Mm.
regularly from time to time just to keep my emotional being on check.
Amen. And how about
That's
your
true.
mental health? Because like you said ganina, me, na there were times like at the beginning of the quarantine na you can hardly sleep even if you're someone who can sleep right away. I know in tapings like makeup lang, doing blow dry sa hair, then you're sleeping. Oh, Mia sleeping. It's okay. That's normal, diba? Parang it was not naman funny, pero it was something new to me when I heard you saying that you were having a hard time sleeping at the beginning of this quarantine. And then, like ako, I have my husband whom I can talk to every day, anytime I want to consult or anytime I want to say something. How did you manage that? Because I can say that's part of the mental health as well. Eh?
It was strange at first, and until it came to a point when we'd have to watch the masses on TV or online. But for me, there's a big difference of you going to church physically and you just hearing the mass on screen or online. I could feel that there's a change, so I wanted to build it stronger, to build it more. I would watch the Wednesdays masses also. Even brought to a point that I had to buy candles just to feel
Um,
that
the
spiritual,
solemnity, yeah.
yes, the solemnity, the spiritual presence inside your home, inside your house. So there were those efforts just to keep or maintain something that you just recently started because you felt good. I felt good when I regularly went to church already, and then it had to stop. So I didn't want it to stop just because we're experiencing this. And at that time, I thought it was just going to last for a couple of weeks, but then
2 4 weeks maybe, no?
and I found peace in that, to be honest. And I think although you being mentally strong is different as you being spiritually strong, may be quite different, but I see that there's a huge connection between them. So
Mm.
that's why I would answer that praying and strengthening your faith would
Amen.
be something that also kept my mental stability in place or in check. It also connects with communication. You communicate with your friends, with your family, with your loved ones more often. It will really help you. I've been keeping in touch with a couple of friends on a regular
Group
basis,
chats.
on a daily basis already. Somehow, there have been positive. side with COVID. You just need to find them. It's not easy to
Exactly.
find. It's not easy to understand that this is a positive thing, that this is a benefit also, that this is a silver lining, for example, but you really need to find them. There is really a need for our conscious effort to look at the bright side.
Wow, I love that. Um, so you've managed to create somehow a routine
Yeah.
I mean, after a
Yeah.
couple of weeks na nakay routine. Kumusta naman kakaron after establishing a new routine, a new normal karon sa panahon sa COVID?
Yeah. It's amazing. I read it somewhere that, and it stuck to me, that it's amazing how humans are so adaptive, or we are very adaptable, diba? Even in, we see it in our history books, even during the times of war, how people managed. There have been accomplishments, achievements in terms of literature or the arts, for example. We see that a lot of people are adapting. For example, in our Facebook groups, we see a lot of groups, a lot of trade happening already, either through barter or selling
Yeah.
of food or goods. So we adapt. At first, of course, there are birth pains. People have a hard time adjusting or coping how to get into this bottleneck, for example. But we're coping. That's the amazing things about humans, is that we're very adaptable. And right now I am seeing that, for example, my well-being 2 months ago, last March, compared to now, has been totally different. Right now, I've currently, everything has been manageable. I wake up at a certain time, I cook, I clean. I usually clean
Wow.
only basin malain ng uban. I usually clean only once a week.
Once a
Okay,
week.
I'm always out, and I usually just go home to sleep and take a bath, and then I'm off to work again the following day. So I usually just clean on the weekends before, but right now I realize how easy a place can be dirty and how regularly you need to clean a place and sweep the floor from time to time. Yeah, it's been fun. Let me tell you, there have been a lot of learnings and skills also that I have learned during this period. So it might have been difficult at first, but I've
Mm,
learned the ropes. And I don't want to sound insensitive. I know there are a lot of people having a hard time right now. I'm
suffering.
just sharing what I'm experiencing on my end.
And I hope all these changes will really, especially to those who have found their new routine, their new normal, I hope all these changes will make us better individuals. You know Robin Sharma, me? Have you heard of Robin
Yeah.
Sharma? Yeah.
Mhm.
He once talked about change, and I remember him saying, you know, a change is really messy at the beginning. But you know,
Yeah.
if you just suck it up, this is not exactly his words, but the thought was, if you just suck
Yeah.
it up and adapt to the change, then it will really, you will become a more beautiful and a better person at the end of everything after adapting to the change. So kanina lang. So how do you how not to feel alone, or how not to feel lonely when you are living alone?
Yeah. I read it somewhere that there's a difference between being alone and being lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I would consider myself alone, definitely, but not lonely. And there's a huge factor of the love that I feel of the people around me. Those are family and friends. The
Right.
constant communication definitely has helped. And of course, with the help of technology as well. So for those who are feeling lonely, at
Mm.
times, I'm not saying I'm happy at all times. You know, there are moments when you feel down, that you begin to doubt not just yourself or how society or how government will emerge after this pandemic. Will it improve, or will things remain the same? We've seen so many catastrophes that have hit our country before, and this is a time of pandemic. How will we emerge after this? Is it going to be worse, or is it going to be better? Is this going to be a turnaround point for our country or not? I would say that you need to find normalcy within you. You need to find a routine, because just as how we were able to manage our day-to-day lives before, because we have a certain routine that we follow, we need also to follow a certain routine right now. you need to step on your feet quickly and understand the situation where we are in. That is first, I have to make sure that I'm physically fit and mentally fit as well, so that even if there are viruses around me, I won't easily be hit or affected right away. I read books, I watch shows, I clean the house, I cook, I study. I even finished a few courses in Coursera. It's an
Wow.
online learning platform, because I didn't want to stagnate myself. Just because I have a lot of dispensable time doesn't mean that I can do anything. I still wanted
Just
to be
waste your
productive
time.
at this
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So it's up to you really how you want to use that extra time. It's up to you. You need to find a hobby or an activity that you enjoy doing that will also nourish you, not just to kill your time, but also mentally.
This is a very powerful conversation, me. I mean,
But it's so thin. I'm seeing a lot of stories from your social media, from your Instagram stories. You've been, I think, even more productive. I tell you, one of the things that kept me also from going is that when I see stories of people working out, it reminds me, hala, nag-workout din siya. I should do my workout today.
we, as you've said, we all have our different ways of coping up. And ako man said, I've had my own emotional and mental challenges when we were hit by this pandemic. So I had to change my routine because I'm an extrovert. I had to create a routine as well. To change it, I had to wake up at a certain time. I had to change my body clock. Same, I think I have a lot of books here as well, books that I bought somewhere and didn't have time to read. So now I have time to read them. And I think one of the best things that happened to me in this pandemic was um, I have more time spending it in prayer and spending it talking to the Lord. I'm not saying I'm the most spiritual person in the world, but I just feel so blessed that I have that kind of relationship I can anchor to, especially at times when I'm so vulnerable and when anxiety and fear would start to creep in and say, hello, ano bitaw? So, kana lang, those stories that you see, um, those are the times na I am trying also to be productive just to forget forget whatever fear or anxiety I am feeling. And now I'm feeling much better. So, and this is one way, actually, this conversation, this is one of the many ways I'm exploring so that I would also know how other people feel because I know myself and this is how I'm coping up. Like you're a different person and then you have different ways of coping up. And maybe somewhere out there's someone with a similar situation as yours watching this, watching you, learning a lot from you. Na maybe at this point they still don't know what to do. They still don't know how to establish um, a new normal, a new normalcy, as you said. So thank you, me, for sharing because I'm sure this conversation has helped someone a lot in this trying times.
There was just something of this approach or this treatment when the pandemic started. I think it would have helped a lot, but I'm
I
sure
know.
there are still some people out there who are having difficult times adapting and coping, so hopefully this will also help out.
Thank you, me,
Yes,
for your
of
time.
course.
Thank you,
Anytime,
Tayo.
then. See you.
Thank you to everyone who watched our conversation. This has been Christine, and I'll see you on the next Conversations with Christine.